Welcome to Cord Cutting Today, Weekend Edition. This is the first weekend edition where we take our biggest stories from the past week, compile them into a single video here for you to enjoy. This is a little bit of a test here. I'd love to hear your feedback, but we're going to start clipping together the biggest stories from the past week, the ones I thought was most interesting or most impactful, and put them in a single video here on the weekend so you can either relive them, maybe find some details you missed the first time, or if you missed a video or two through the week, you can watch this. Now, if you're new here and you're finding us, do me a big favor, hit this subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. We break down what's happening in the world of cord cutting every Monday through Friday, and then now on weekends we do a recap show. We really appreciate your support, and with that said, let's dive into today's recap video. All right, let's dive into it. Last week, Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery have released or announced they will be releasing a new streaming service that will give you access to live streaming channels like ESPN, BTN, FS1, games from TNT, and others without needing to get a big streaming package of YouTube TV or a cable package. Now, this is a cutting out the middleman situation. Basically, what the media companies are doing here is they are removing the need for a third-party company like YouTube TV to sell their content. Instead, they're going to sell directly to you without needing the middleman. We've seen that in other areas. We got things like Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, HBO Max, cutting out the middleman, allowing them to keep all the profit. Now with this does raise a big question. Will people continue to subscribe to things like YouTube TV if they can go directly in more of a slightly more a la carte type situation and only get the sports channels? Studies have shown, and numbers have shown that the vast majority of the reason people are paying for things like YouTube TV, Hulu Plus Live TV, and others is for sports. Now we see things, for example, Fubo stock tanked very hard after the announcement because people are very worried about the future of Fubo with this. I do think it's a very serious and realistic fear here that Fubo, YouTube TV, Hulu Plus Live TV, Sling, and others may not make it with this. If more and more companies team up, if you think about it, depending on what the price is, a lot of people estimate $30 to $40. Some people have estimated higher. I don't think that's going to be a reality. If it is, the service is dead on arrival. But I do believe in that $30 to $40 range is a sweet point because you can add an antenna to get a bunch of local content, or maybe CBS's Paramount Plus or Peacock with this to get the remaining sports you need. If that happens, if I can get all my sports content for under $50, it's a $35 for this, $5 for another one, $5 or $10 for another one, depending on how the pricing breaks out. It works out to be about $50. That can be significantly cheaper than a Fubo, a YouTube TV, and others, and give me what I'm coming here for. We'll keep a close eye on this, but mark my words, investors are making it clear that this is a real fear, and that's why they're selling stocks like Fubo, and I think it really is a real danger to these live TV streaming services. All right, last year we had a ton of strikes, most notably the writers and actors dragged out, but directors also struck a new deal last year, if I'm remembering correctly. Well, now there is a new strike that could bring Hollywood to a halt. The International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees and Motion Picture and Television Production producers are set to negotiate two new contracts here that could see them going on strike in March. If that happens, that could drive production once again to a halt, just as we're finally getting production going again on many shows and movies after the actors and writers strikes of last year. No word yet on how likely this are. Some of these contracts are set to expire in July, but they're set to start negotiations in March, to be exact with this. We'll see how this works out, but these are the people who do everything in the background, and you can have the actors, you can have the writers, but if you don't have the camera crew, you don't have the sets built, you don't have the lighting, you don't have the sound, it's not going to happen. As somebody who did a lot of lighting for theater growing up, I understand, you can do it without lighting, but it definitely doesn't look as well. Great. So check that out. Major strike coming up that could see production in Hollywood once again draw to a close. Like many of the similar issues here, mostly related around streaming rights. If I work on a show, what's my residuals? Am I going to get more money? Am I just going to get one big paycheck? Am I going to get residuals if the show does well? What is my cut as somebody who's building the sets, doing the lightings with that? All right, let's start off with Roku OS 13. Roku is currently on OS 12.5. This is the next major update that brings new features, some announced, probably some we don't know yet. It's currently in beta testing with developers. Developers who make the apps or got access to it to make sure their apps are compliant with this new OS. Roku says there will be a, with this update, you'll be able to link Google Photos to your screensaver and use your Google Photos as your screensaver. This was announced earlier, but this is the update with that. One of the big things that will be changing with this update is the ability to automatically on Roku TVs adjust the picture quality. Now, Roku announced this was coming. It looks like Roku OS 13 is what will bring it. And basically, it will detect if you're watching a movie, a sporting event, live television, or others, and automatically, if you turn it on, adjust the picture quality to best fit what you're doing. You start playing video games, it will adjust to that. You start a movie, a sporting event, others, it will adjust the picture quality settings to best match what kind of content you are currently doing. Now, there are other features in here, including bug fixes, back-end changes, and more, but often Roku has a history of rolling out updates with hidden new features in it. Guest mode was one of those. They didn't really promote guest mode, we just kind of noticed it was in there. Other great features of Roku have been hidden. So we're going to get our hands on this and see what was included. Sadly, a lot of people have asked me, can I sign up for this beta? No, not at this time. It's only limited to developers. Typically, Roku does that and they just didn't do a general. They don't do a public beta test of a new OS. I suspect with the timing of this beta release and the history of Roku OS, spring 2024, maybe in a month and a half to 2-3 months from now, we should see it. That's subject to change. If they find bugs or issues with it, could delay it. If everything goes well, it could roll out even faster. We'll keep a close eye on that. All right, a few other notes with that Roku OS. The last update, Roku 12, came out in the fall of last year, Roku 12.5, and was more of a minor update. I would suspect that this would be more of a major update. We'll see what happens with it. All right, Walmart has been in an epic battle with Amazon for years. Now, they go back and forth in many different areas, but now Walmart wants to compete with Amazon in the digital smart television space. To do this, they've reportedly started negotiations to buy Vidgo for more than $2 billion. This deal is reportedly targeting two main things here: to take over the advertising space in those televisions and be able to compete with Amazon in the advertising realm digitally, but also to take Vidgo's free ad-supported streaming service and use it with its Paramount Plus server, or Paramount Plus. They offer Paramount Plus, Walmart Plus, to help compete against Amazon. Now, I often speculate they would do this with Roku, but Roku would probably be about an additional $10 billion to make that happen. With this deal here, they can buy Vidgo for about $2 billion, get a very large install base, not as large as Roku had, compete with advertising to sell advertising on television, push their products through Vidgo televisions, and have their ad-supported streaming service from Vidgo. All things that allow them to compete more one-on-one with Amazon, who does all that through Amazon Freevee, Fire TVs, and the like. We'll see how this plays out. Now, the deal's not done. This was a report by the Wall Street Journal, and they're still working their way through the details. Things could fall apart, things could change. But Walmart's doing this because they want to compete with Amazon. That fight there is not going away, and it's moving from just physical goods to digital goods also. We'll see. Let me know. Do you subscribe to Walmart Plus, Amazon Prime? Which one do you like? Let me know your thoughts and reasons. All right, Vidgo is a live TV streaming service. Late last year it shut down, and now, at the time when it shut down its live service, it continued to allow you to log into its TV Everywhere login. So you could go to ESPN app, log in with your Vidgo credentials, and watch ESPN, Fox Sports, and other TV Everywhere apps. Well, now Vidgo has announced that they are fully shutting that down, but that they are still hopeful they'll get new funding and be able to relaunch. We'll see what happens. For now, Vidgo is not dead, but they're still working their way through it as Vidgo continues to do their best to develop and work through all this. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Vidgo is really working hard to find new funding. It hasn't happened. It's been quite a few months. How many customers hung around, even though the last month or so it's been free, you've been able to use it for free. Prior to that, you were still paying some in order to use the TV Everywhere apps. How many people were doing that? I don't know. Any Vidgo subscribers here, past, present, do you think you'd ever go back? Leave me a comment. Let me know.